Today's episode of Nerd Soup is sponsored by Audible. Visit audible.com/nerdsoup or text nerdsoup to 500-500 to start listening to Audible with a free 30-day trial. Get one audiobook and unlimited Audible original monthly downloads absolutely free. Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Nerd Soup. I am Bo Oliver, joined today by Aaron, the Nerd Soup Monkey, and Teddy. Ted, it's been a while. Where have you? How you been?
Same as last podcast, just, hanging around.
Took you a couple weeks to watch this movie. Could have had this done weeks ago.
Okay,
but it's a weird situation all around.
I'm sorry I'm working.
Yeah, but this is not like the first time you've actually done something like this, so,
You guys trying to be funny on the mic, or?
No, we'll probably cut this out, but me and Bo have been working nonstop, and you kind of just doing nothing.
You two are working nonstop.
Yeah,
okay.
We're trying to build the channel.
Trying to support the channel.
Okay, so my two jobs, we're in the pandemic, isn't enough.
Well,
Wedding getting pushed back isn't enough. What else was there? Wedding,
honeymoon,
honeymoon, Nashville got pushed back, that's not enough.
A couple relatives passed away.
Lost a bunch of money, relatives, I had my aunt died, my grandma died.
Well,
anything else I got to rattle off?
Yeah, but even before this, let's be honest, didn't have the best work ethic when it comes to this, so.
You know what? Fuck you, Aaron! Yeah, I'm not paying for that.
We've never seen anything even close to your levels of exposure. That you survived an event like that, it's beyond my comprehension.
I don't want to control it. I want to get rid of it.
Yeah, so The Incredible Hulk. We are back to do our Marvel Revisited. When was the first one? Back in 2017, right? When we reviewed
When
Iron
was
Man?
the first one?
Like a year ago.
That was a while ago.
Yeah, it
dude.
was a while ago. Hey, man, there's been a lot going on, right? Yeah, it's 9 months ago. Yeah, no, but we're back to review the second movie. And I want to say this for everybody listening. The Incredible Hulk came out second. You're still not sure.
Still a debate.
With the end credit scene, how is that not tied into two?
Listen.
They were sloppy before Feige set this ship straight, so I don't know. I don't trust it. Wikipedia, you can edit that shit.
Marvel was a slop house before Feige came and just butchered all the pigs.
Yeah, I'm going about how I remembered it 12 years ago. And I'm going to stick to it, and nothing anybody can tell me otherwise will make a difference.
This is like the donkey in Family Guy with people on the internet.
Everyone knows Kevin Bacon was a star of Footloose. It was a huge movie. He was the lead. No.
They just won't believe that this one didn't come out first. But it didn't. It's the second movie in the MCU. It's The Incredible Hulk, Bruce Banner. It's his kind of origin story, and he's not played by Mark Ruffalo in this one. He's played by Ed Norton.
I feel like this role was very different to what he's accustomed to.
Well, when you listen to all of his interviews and you read his interviews about what he wanted to tackle, he really wanted to address this as a guy with bipolar disorder or anger management, and that's what these stories are. You can deal with these problems in a heightened way. But it appears that there were a lot of studio problems behind the scenes, and he's also the uncredited writer of this movie.
Yeah, so he was trying to... There was a bunch of scenes that got cut out that were pretty much the scenes that he wrote, and they cut them out in post-editing. I know one of the scenes for sure was him trying to kill himself.
I wonder if that's what they reference in the Avengers, Mark Ruffalo's Hulk.
Yeah, when he says that, I thought the same thing when I heard that.
I got low. I didn't see an end, so I put a bullet in my mouth, and the other guy spit it out.
Well, he does mention Harlem in the Avengers.
Thanks, but the last time I was in New York, I kind of broke Harlem.
But
Thunderbolt Ross.
He's
all over. The other one's a huge part of Civil War, but this movie...
Get the 50 cows out of him now!
he's very good at being a military guy and shouting commands.
The thing I took away is how different Mark Ruffalo and Edward Norton's Hulk are.
Dude.
Especially when he's doing parkour and shit. I couldn't picture Mark Ruffalo doing any of that shit.
Or shirtless.
Complete 360s, dude.
Yeah. But the character itself and the one they portrayed in this film, Bruce Banner, very bland in this film, and I don't blame Edward Norton because obviously we know how great of an actor he is, but it just seems like if it was interference or writing problems, it just didn't mesh well.
You know what? That's why I always felt that he wouldn't fit well with the other Avengers, because he's very alpha Hollywood. I can't see him being the sidekick for Robert Downey Jr. And I'm not saying Mark Ruffalo is, but they have a very funny buddy relationship in that first Avengers, and they kind of set the tone for their chemistry. Like you said, Norton is known to be very picky when it comes to the films that he makes. So I don't know. Maybe he just it's a very vanilla performance.
On what
the Hulk in the Avengers, he's very skittish and unsure of himself. This guy just is like, I got this problem, I need to get rid of it.
What are you guys' thoughts on how they started the film? With him already having that incident and him already being the Hulk, and they kind of just flashed through all of that.
I like that because it cuts out a lot of the fat, and I distinctly remember the first one being very boring with the build up to Hulk.
Yes,
and
I remember.
I feel like if you would have had that,
2003 Ang Lee Hulk, right?
Yeah, if you would have had that in here, it just would have been so much slower. Because the first act was slow. I mean, you got him hulking out, but it wasn't nothing like the third act, obviously.
Well, I thought it started strong with all that stuff with him in Brazil and them trying to get him in that really long chase sequence. Even though,
so you like the skip of the origins?
I think because it was so fresh in people's minds from the 2003 one that
it's like Batman's Pearls, Spider-Man, Uncle Ben.
I don't mind it. Maybe they could have got more characterization with the character in those moments because I feel like that was a huge part lacking in this film. But I do like the whole chase sequence in the beginning, even though it goes from in the middle of the night to daytime to night again. And I don't know
or from the rain, dude.
What time it's supposed to be, but I think it was a cool sequence.
There is literally a scene in On Her Majesty's Secret Service, the James Bond movie, where James Bond is fighting somebody and it changes from night to day in the middle of the fight. That's how hard James Bond punches. He literally knocked his lights out.
But it's like
or put the lights back in.
They came to surprise him in the middle of the night, then he runs and it's kind of dawnish, but the streets are very active like it is like nighttime.
But like it's not 3 a.m.
The whole
it's also very boring.
I thought it was interesting enough.
I feel like the movie is too long for what they're trying to portray because they're not really getting into... I mentioned to you before we recorded, nothing is kind of accomplished from a personal standpoint in Bruce Banner's life. I mean, it is accomplished, but we don't see it. I mean, at the end of the movie, he basically tells us that he can control this power.
Right.
And that's what we see in the Avengers, that he can control it when it's he that brings on the Hulk. But he's mostly just running away and fighting, and then he sees Dr. Stern's Mr. Blue, and he's trying to get rid of it. The whole movie just feels too simple for a character like this.
Yeah, it was very dull in between all the action sequences. I very much liked the fight on the college campus. I thought that was pretty cool. And the end fight was pretty sick, but in between all that...
Do you like Tim Roth as Abomination?
I did like him.
He's a mean guy. Like, there's no really...
He was mean. I like his name, Blonsky.
Well, all the supporting characters, even with Bruce Banner too, but besides him, there's really nothing there. I mean, Liv Tyler's character, Betty, she's a great actor, but I mean,
I felt
there's
like
really nothing to her character.
For them, they do feel like they are in love. They have good chemistry, the two actors, but they're not great characters. Tim Roth's Abomination, he was good for this movie. I like the fight at the end, and I also like the nods to the Super Soldier project.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. That was sweet.
That's the only way that I would kind of want to see the origins, because they change it there with the government trying to...
So they were trying to recreate Captain America, right?
Yeah, basically. Okay. The supporting characters, Thunderbolt Ross is just stupid military guy.
You know, you could have built that relationship, though, and the characterization in the beginning, in the origin. But they chose to just go away from that because I read that Marvel just wanted an action movie, pretty much. That's all they wanted.
They probably sold Edward Norton on one thing. Well, the guy who wrote the movie officially is Zach Penn, and he's known for writing X-Men 2, X-Men Last Stand, and he also did the story for the Avengers. So he's known to kind of, I guess, I don't want to call him formulaic. Out of all the MCU movies, this one feels so formulaic. It just first act, second act, third act.
So you got to hit all the notes. You got to have big action sequences, but we're not really going to strive to be more than that. And I feel like tonally, it's more akin to Iron Man than, I guess, the films that we're used to today. It's not as light in tone. I mean, there was an avenue to explore some deeper themes that kind of just got glossed over. There are some things that we won't see, like when Tim Roth's character shoots the dog. I don't think we'll ever, even if it is a tranquilizer.
It's a trank. They were in live rounds.
I know, but
like
still, like,
I didn't like that.
That visual alone, I don't think would ever be in an MCU movie today.
Or even when he went down the rope and went to that girl's room, or his girlfriend's room.
That was smooth as hell.
It was.
Does he smoke a cigarette in this? Because Marvel banned all cigarettes.
I don't think so.
He should, though. You know, he's stressed out. You have this fucking...
you need a couple cigarettes and coffee.
He should have a cigarette, man. Calm his heart rate down a little bit.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what cigarettes are. That's what they're known for.
Did you guys like the heart rate, Rock?
Yeah, I loved it.
Because I did, because it shows the internal struggle he has trying to control the Hulk.
Yeah, it's a good way to visualize that.
Yeah.
It's to put a number on it.
Yeah.
If he hits 200, when she's trying to bang and he's like, I can't get excited. She's like, not even a little excited. I did love the bit when they're in the New York City cab, because out-of-towners have told me that experience word for word, that they get in the cab and it's the most fun that they've ever had in their life. They can't believe how recklessly they drive. And the line about him not being in an enclosed metal tube in the most aggressive city in the world, that was funny too.
Well, I thought it was pretty cheesy though in the one when they got out. They go, I have some techniques you could use.
And I like that when he was in Brazil, learning to fight, learning to control his chi.
But I feel like that's where him and Mark Ruffalo differ, because I feel like if Mark Ruffalo had that, it may have felt a little more genuine. Because like Mark Ruffalo's character isn't as serious as Edward Norton is. So it's like if Mark Ruffalo did that line, I think it'd be a little different.
Oh, it would come across more naturally. Well, I think it is. They maintained a natural progression for this character, and people are upset that he doesn't get his own solo movies and that they rush things in other movies. With him dealing with the Hulk in Infinity War, that could have been an entire movie. That is a comic where they do split and they have these weird scenes of them confronting each other. I think he naturally becomes a bit more outgoing in the later Avengers movies because he is more accepted. Great callback in Thor Ragnarok when Ruffalo's Hulk jumps off the ship to this movie, I think, because he jumps off the helicopter and it doesn't work and he falls in the cement and comes out. He's the Hulk.
Oh, shit.
Right.
I didn't realize that. Wow.
When he fell in Thor Ragnarok, that last fight is incredible, though.
Yeah, I like when he uses the cop car as sock and boppers. I enjoy that. Or the Hulk can gets Hulk hands.
Yeah, wow, look at that.
Yeah.
What do you think about Hulk Smash? I thought that was...
Any last words? Hulk! Smash!
That was cool. That was,
It was funny. It's a cheesy line, but
yeah.
it's a lot of cheesy things.
you got to put that in though, right?
Like when they're like, I don't know, he was just some kind of Hulk. Or when Tim Blake Nelson's character goes, it could be an abomination. Tim Blake Nelson, too, a great actor. I didn't like him in this film at all.
I liked him.
He's the doctor? Mr. Blue?
I think he's a good wacky scientist.
Yeah, he was.
I don't know.
I don't like the wacky scientist. The wacky scientist, you need to nail it. Donald Glover in The Martian, terrible wacky scientist.
Can we get like some stats on if that could really happen when Hulk like clapped his hands together and blew away the fire?
Yeah, that was
it was blowing up already.
Tough. Yeah, it's like he reversed time. He did a Tenet. I don't know.
Smith said, "Not my house." That's not happening.
I also feel bad for Phil Dunphy, Ty Burrell here. He just gets fucking left in the dust. She's like, "Oh, old boyfriend's back. Who are you?"
Oh yeah, the poor guy.
Yeah, but he knows. He knows something's up.
He seems like the cool, like not cool. He's like the guy that, all right, I get it, I'm out.
Seems like a cock.
Yeah.
No, he's like, he knows that this is going to be a huge cinematic universe. I need to let this happen. I need to take a step back here.
Let's try to find a role for myself here.
He knows that he's not the main character. You know, I like the pizza guy.
Hey, so what did happen with the Doctor? Because he had Hulk's blood pop into his head.
Yeah, he becomes.
You saw that thing happen. And
he has a gamma accident in the comics, and he becomes a character called Leader, and he's basically like a big-brained green evil genius.
Leader,
okay.
Like a container, or a leader?
No, lead.
A
with
leader of men.
Yeah, he's the leader.
Huh.
Not of men, though. I think just himself.
How about the CGI of him transforming? Because this CGI was fairly new, no?
I think the only bad example of CGI was when he's on Mr. Blue's table and he's kind of halfway turning.
Yeah.
That wasn't too great, but I mean, 12 years ago, the Hulk himself looks really good, and I think it's to be expected a couple of scenes that aren't going to look as good as we're used to today.
It's always so interesting because in the moment it always looks so fantastic. It's like 10 years from now, how will Thanos look? But it seems like that era, mid-2000s up until now, it's all the CGI doesn't feel dated. I mean, obviously it feels a bit dated, but it's not so unrealistic where you're watching that. Like, that's not a Hulk. You watch 2003 Hulk, you're like, I don't know what that is, but that's not a Hulk.
What year was Avatar?
2009.
Yeah, Avatar is like crazy.
Yeah, it's about that time. Yeah, Avatar seems almost like the bench between what it was and what it now is.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't mind the CGI. I thought Abomination looked good too. And I'd like to see Abomination. I mean, if they ever do a Hulk, it's weird with Universal owning the rights and Marvel is allowed to use them in team-up movies, but I'd like to see some of these Hulk characters come back for a Hulk solo.
I didn't understand how Abomination had so much control over his character with the talking, and he really knew what was going on.
Well,
But
he says to Hulk,
know.
you don't deserve this power, so I guess he did.
I guess he knows.
I guess the
He's
prior super
like-
soldier serum mixed with this. I don't know.
I don't know. You guys didn't find anything wrong with that?
I don't know. No, it's inconsistent. Well, there's so many inconsistencies.
Well, it's just these two big fucking Goliath monsters fighting. I don't really care.
Yeah, but you can make
About all
the
that.
one that just became it more sophisticated than Hulk.
I mean, this movie, if we're gonna nitpick,
I'm not saying that's not a
and-
nitpick.
You're
Is that a
offended.
nitpick?
You're offended that
Is that a
Hulk's not. You want Hulk with the voice of Patrick Stewart.
No, I want Mark Ruffalo's Hulk.
It's like nothing in this movie is nothing
The
established.
new one, the
Yeah.
merged Hulk, right? Yeah.
Nothing in this film established
Hulk.
that it's going to be a crisp script with no inconsistencies. I think we got that very early on with the, like I said, the daytime, nighttime chase sequence.
You know what? I'm just thinking in my head now, the more we talk about it, the more I dislike this movie. There's nothing to love about it. There's no
it's-
one scene. There's no one moment.
No.
There's not very.
There's nothing I
it's-
hate about it either.
Exactly.
It's not like a Thor Dark World where it's just a fucking abysmal viewing experience. This one I kind of...
It's a step up from Fantastic Four, Fan-4-Stick, where there are things that I do hate about Fan-4-Stick, but not many. It's mostly just a very boring movie, and that's kind of this. I was just bored. I just couldn't get it. I couldn't wait for it to be over. Thank goodness we moved on from this, right? We got the good Marvel movies.
Wait, what's next? Iron
Yeah,
Man
if you
2?
guys, if I can go back in time, I would have just said do this without me.
Isn't next Iron Man 2?
After Iron Man 2, after we get over that hurdle,
Yeah, then we got Thor.
Thor in the Dark Worlds.
once we hit Spider-Man Homecoming, it's smooth sailing from there on out. Hey guys, thank you for watching this episode of Nerd Soup, and before we go, we would like to thank Audible for sponsoring this video. Audible is the perfect escape for those who find themselves bored with their current isolation. Audible content includes an unmatched selection of audiobooks ranging from audiobooks, podcasts, both theatrical and comedy shows, and of course you can find the bestsellers in motivation, mystery, thrillers, memoirs, and more. Each month as an Audible member gives you 1 free credit to use on any audiobook in Audible's library, and with Audible you'll get easy audiobook exchanges. If you are unsatisfied with your audiobook, you can exchange it, no questions asked. However, I would like to recommend an audiobook that I don't think you will dislike, and that is Why We Sleep, by leading scientific expert on sleep, Professor Matthew Walker, and narrated by Steve West, an Audible veteran. Together they deliver a very relaxing and, more importantly, an informative audiobook on the science behind sleep. Why We Sleep examines just that. They examine the reasons and advantages behind sleep and how a lack of sleep can be pretty deadly. Also, like I said, this book is very relaxing. Steve West will put you to sleep. So remember to visit audible.com/nerdsoup or text nerdsoup to 500-500 to start your 30-day free trial. Plus, get 1 audiobook for free and unlimited Audible original monthly downloads.